All right, we welcome you in Hometown Sports Huddle on this Monday. No, we got off to a late start. Do apologize for that, but hey, we're here. And sometimes on a Monday, that's all you could ask for. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Wall, Sports Director. And in the other box over here on this side of the room is Zach Card. You may have seen him last week, one of our producers here at WDBJ7. Huge sports fan. I'm proud to say he's going to be joining us on the Huddle a lot more often in the near future. So, Zach, first of all, welcome. I wasn't here for you for your first appearance, but I had the day off, and I was even texting you photos. Dude, you're killing it. This is awesome. So glad you are finally aboard a little bit. I don't know if they even gave you this opportunity, but I just want to start off right off the bat. Give me your background in sports a little bit, because everybody knows me a little bit as far as I'm a Philly fan. I have certain tastes that maybe some people don't like, and I want to see how we're going to match up here, good or bad.
Yeah, so I am not based all in one city for all my fans. My dad was a bandwagon when he grew up, I like to say. So
okay.
We're a little all over the place. Boston Celtics for basketball, Chicago Bears for football, Atlanta Braves for baseball, just kind of all over the place. Buffalo Sabres for hockey. They're having a good run right now.
Yeah.
We get to celebrate them for the first time in 14 years.
It has been a while since you guys had a chance to celebrate, and but that you were saying really nomadic in your taste. I mean, Boston and Buffalo. How did you get to be such a diverse fan of all these teams?
Like I said, my dad passed them all down. He was a bandwagon, grew up in the 80s, so it's Larry Bird Celtics, 85 Bears. Back when the Braves were on TBS all across the country every day.
Oh, yeah.
So it was all of those kind of culminated, and he passed them on to me.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm always fascinated because, see, growing up, because I grew up in Philadelphia area, initially Delaware, then moved a lot to Philadelphia. But I'm always fascinated when, for me, it was, what's my teams? Philly, 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 and Philly. It was easy for me. And I'm always, when I moved to Virginia, I realized that, people kind of have nomadic tastes like you a little bit. Like, we grew up watching the Braves on TBS, which was WTBS, because I'm old enough to remember that. And then Buffalo and everything else is fascinating to me. All right, so you and I are going to enjoy talking about the NBA, about the Celtics and Sixers a little bit.
You'll enjoy it a little bit more than I will.
This is true. Although, not the spoiler, I thought Game 7 was really fun on both sides.
Oh, it was an incredible watch.
What an amazing matchup. But I do want to start with our lead story today, and that is Roanoke lacrosse. You saw it on WDBJ at 6 o'clock. Surprised to get the call into the Division III NCAA tournament. They knew they were on the bubble. As it turns out they were, but they got the last call to go in, and Roanoke will actually be able to host a first-round game against Marymount University. Now, we do have, I was over at the campus earlier today as the Maroons were getting ready to play. In fact, you can see some of the warm-up here on the screen right now. This is just from a few hours ago over at Kerr Stadium. But the Maroons will be hosting Marymount. That's at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. That's Coach Grant Zimmerman, first-year coach of the Maroons. And they really looked keyed up, ready to go. But again, coming off a loss to Lynchburg in the ODAC semifinals, this team really feels like they can do something. I'm going to play for you now some of the interviews that I did with Coach Zimmerman and the players, and here they are.
What was it like to see your name come on the field?
It was a big surprise. I'm not going to lie. We did not know if we were going to make it or not, and us getting in was a huge surprise. So, I was very grateful that we got an opportunity. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got a second chance, second life here, definitely playing with house money. So, at the end of the day, we're excited to have the opportunity, and we're going to come out here and make the most of it.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about what you're expecting on Wednesday from Marymount, a team that's won their conference, but you get to host them here. What are you kind of preparing for?
I'm expecting their best effort. I mean, they won their conference tournament, got a bid to the NCAA championship, so I fully expect them to be a very strong team, and they're going to give us their best effort.
Playing in the ODAC, where you're one of three teams from the conference to make the big dance, what does that say about the conference strength overall?
I think it speaks a lot about that. I think that right now we've positioned ourselves to be one of the top conferences in the country, and I think having three teams represented is very good for our conference going forward. Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to go as far as we can, but we got to focus on the opponent in front of us and make sure that we're getting better one day at a time. So for us, it's making sure that we're ready for Wednesday, taking care of Marymount, and then from there, whatever happens, we'll be ready for that. For us, obviously we want to be better defensively. We gave up a lot of goals there, so that's one area of improvement for us as a program. A couple other things would be continued steady improvement at the face-offs. We've done better throughout the year, so it was much better performance this game than it was in the first game. If we can improve in those areas, I think we'll be in a really good spot.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, we've been hearing back and forth that we were going to make it, not make it, but got in, and then everybody was amped up. We're ready to go.
Celtics going to NCAAs?
Yeah, so out of every ODAC team, we've played Lynchburg the most out of any other team. We've played them once every year in the regular season, and then 4 years in a row, once in the playoffs. So, I mean, it's been a matchup for us. Obviously, we wanted it, but it came up short. But that game definitely carried us into where we're at today. I mean, we learn a lot from that game, and we're going to carry that into the NCAAs.
With the boys for another day.
Yeah, it's wild. But the one thing we like to say on the team is now we're pro lacrosse players. School's over, so we're just all lacrosse right now.
What does it feel like to still have the pads on? I mean, 24 hours ago, you didn't know if your college career was over.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys know. We had a senior meeting yesterday, and we originally thought our career was going to be over, so having another week is definitely a good thing for us, and we'll see Wednesday what happens. But at first, it was a huge surprise to us. At first, we didn't think we were going to get it, and then about 5 minutes into the selection show, our coach said, "Oh, here we go. We might be in right now." So I know we talked about it last time, but we got to find a 60 minutes full game to get through. And I know in the second half they threw a zone at us, and that kind of shut us down a little bit, but. I mean, we just had a big film session learning how to get good at zone defense, and I think picking up on that will be good for us. So.
All right, that was also Julian Cameraman, senior attackman, and I know, Zach, unfortunately you don't have an earpiece in today, but I got to tell you, Julian's got I'm going to impersonate his voice, and I do it out of respect because he was so much fun to tune to. Man, the lacrosse was great. We're getting ready. If he sounds like a lacrosse player, which I say that with utmost respect. But this is a team that, again, they like Weston Hammond mentioned, they played Lynchburg a couple times. They got better each time they played, but lost all of them. And talking to Coach Zimmerman, they said when Lynchburg lost to Washington Lee yesterday, was it 16-6 or no 18-8? They thought, well, gee, that hurts our strength of the schedule, that pops our bubble. And then the school really didn't find out until the selection show. So it should be an exciting game on Wednesday. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA now, Zach, because we were talking a little bit off air about the NBA playoffs and how, I got to be honest, like I said, I'm from Philly, and I gave up on the process. I truly did after so many years. Dang it, they drew me back in because I thought they were dead in the water. My fiance is a huge Boston Celtics fan, and she was giving me the business when they were up 3-1. And here we are. And I don't know necessarily how to explain it. All right, what was your impressions, first of all, of this Celtics-Sixers series? Because Game 7 kind of blew my mind a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Game 7 was incredible basketball to watch. As a fan of either team or as a neutral, it was just so much entertaining basketball going on. Overall, I thought the series was crazy. It's the first time the Celtics have ever blown a 3-1 lead at any stage in the playoffs. Yeah. I believe it's the first time the 76ers have come back 3-1.
It was, yeah.
In a series. So historic for both teams, one for a really good reason, one for a really bad reason. But I think in Game 7, we saw elements of what this Celtics team has shown all year. They love to shoot the three, kind of fall apart. You live by the three, you die by the three. And right. We saw that in past Celtics runs under Missoula as well. They won back in 23,
yep.
But in 24 they faltered because of the three ball again. And it just goes to show if you slow down one part of that offense, it kind of dominoes fall into the rest.
You're absolutely right. I think the three is definitely one of the big reasons why they blew at Game 7. But let's talk about some of the players. I don't want to say disappeared, but if you look at the series as a whole, early on, like Peyton Pritchard in Game 4 just blew the Sixers out of the water, had that huge first half. That game was never in question. Celtics won by a ton. And then you didn't see much of him, in 5, 6, and 7. Had some real cold swings, especially 7. I got to be honest, I don't really remember him hitting a big shot in Game 7. And really the bench, usually comes up with some moments here and there for the Celtics, and I didn't see it.
Yeah, you're completely right. I think Peyton Pritchard has shown that all season. He's a bit streaky. He can be really good at some games and then kind of fall off a cliff. But that's kind of the role the Celtics wanted him to play all year, I think. They didn't need him to come out and give him 20 a game. They wanted that spark plug off the bench whenever they kind of needed it. One thing that I thought was super disappointing in my eyes as a Celtics fan was Jaylen Brown's play. Or lack thereof at sometimes. It felt like he couldn't dribble the ball at points. VJ Edgecombe was given some great on-ball defense against him, poking the ball out. It seemed like a couple times every quarter VJ Edgecombe was getting a steal, getting a poke, pushing out of bounds in some sort of way. And I'm a little disappointed in Jaylen Brown with that. I feel like the narrative is always push him right. He's got no left, and he's pushing 30 now, and he still hasn't really developed that left. that left hand dribbling. So
Okay.
a couple question marks for me moving forward. But other than that, the 76ers just kind of played at the weakness of the Celtics.
Yeah.
The Joel Embiid went off in the last couple of games against Vucevic, and then Vuce didn't play in Game 7. Mitch and I talked a little bit about it last week, how he had never made it out of the first round, and I didn't expect that to stay true this year.
Right.
They completely pulled him. I don't know if he was a scratch completely, a DNP all the way, or if he got a couple minutes in there. I'd have to look again, but even if he got a couple minutes in there, he wasn't doing much. And Joel Embiid was able to just go at Nehemias Queta, put him in foul trouble really early. Luka Garza wasn't able to do much against Embiid. It was a complete mismatch all throughout the game.
We'll talk about the Sixers in a moment because I have some things I want to bounce off of you. But big question I had is, you being a Celtics fan, I asked my fiance this: if Jason Tatum is healthy and plays in Game 7, is the result different in your eyes?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we don't see as much of those bench guys that came in. Hugo, I'm blanking on his last name right now, but the rookie for the Celtics came in and had a great impact off the bench. Got the crowd back into it once the Celtics were down 13 or 15.
Yeah.
I don't think we would have seen him make that kind of impact if Jason Tatum played, but also Tatum loves these Game 7s. A couple years ago against 76ers, he had 50 in his last Game 7.
Yeah.
So I think that he loves to play in this type of those types of environments, and I think it would have been a little different had he played. But I think the struggle against Embiid would have been the exact same. There still would have been no solution for that. So
yeah, I don't disagree with you. But going from someone who was injured in Game 7 to someone who usually has been injured in late in the season in Joel Embiid. We got to talk about the impact that he had in this series, because I'm not going to lie. When we got to the postseason, I said, look, after like Game 2 and 3, when it was like 2-1 going into 3-1, I said, look, Embiid is cooked. The Sixers are cooked. It's time to blow this thing up. And did he just hobble his way, back into my heart again after 3? I mean, Game 7 was a gritty performance. Maybe not the amount of post play that I would have liked to have seen, because he was again hobbling a little bit. But he hits that 3 in the fourth quarter and gives this to the crowd, settles them down a little bit. Really sucked the life out of the Celtics there in the fourth quarter, and he was darn near unstoppable.
Oh, completely unstoppable. They tried to bring in doubles to him on pretty much every play in the second half. And then the rotations just started going. VJ Hedgecombe starts knocking down threes. Tyrese Maxey starts knocking down threes. Paul George was playing out of his mind. It was his 30-something birthday, and he is playoff P again.
I took my fiance to see the Celtics and Sixers up in Philly, I think, just before Thanksgiving or early. The calendar is a little fuzzy to me, I'll be honest with you. But I did not see, that's early in the year NBA, so it's hard to really compare that to a Game 6 and 7. But I just didn't see that level of play, because again, that game they were missing George, they were missing Embiid, and frankly Edgecombe had one of his worst shooting nights in history, yet they still won that game just because Boston got in foul trouble that night. But I thought Boston was the way better team. I said, whoa, we stole one. I hope we don't see him in the postseason. But yeah, also for Philly, Maxey just showed why he has been the one to carry this team. Frankly, this team is like a 15-win team without him during the regular season, and boy, did he etched his place in Philly sports, legend right now.
Oh, yeah. If I'm Daryl Morey, the GM, it's still Daryl Morey, correct?
Oh, boy, I believe so. Like I mentioned, I fell away a little bit.
I think it's still Daryl Morey, GM of the 76ers. If I'm the GM of the 76ers, I'm looking at Maxey as the future next decade of the franchise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. What we're going to do is, because we're running a little short on time because we started late, and that's on me, but we're going to take a quick timeout, about 90 seconds here. When we come back, we're going to run through the rest of there you go. Got to get the signals right. We're going to look at the rest of these playoff series, and Zach's going to give me his quick thoughts. We're going to bounce off and pick some winners here. That's good. Next on the Hometown Sports Huddle. Stay with me. All right, welcome back to the Huddle one more time. Dave Walls and Zach Card here with you, wrapping up. All right, Zach, we just talked about the first round series that, of course, caught my eye being a Sixers fan, but we have a lot of second round games, two starting tonight, 2 tomorrow. Let's go ahead and run through them real quick. All right, so we talked about the Sixers. I figure let's touch on this one briefly and get it out of the way. The 7th-seeded Sixers against the 3-seed Knicks. Quick thoughts on that one. Give me 30 seconds on that. What do you think?
I think Knicks are still my favorite to come out of the East. I said that last week. I still believe it to be true. 76ers are going to put up a better fight, I think, after all the momentum from this week, though. But I still think Knicks in 5 or 6.
I'm going to say Knicks in 7, but I only say that because, look, Jalen Brunson's, like Jaylen Brown, Brunson's going to get his points. He's going to get his 30 plus a game. But the same question. It's his supporting cast. When the Knicks went on that losing streak, in February, March, and, he was getting 30, 40 a night, and then they were still losing by 20. Karl Anthony Towns, has been wildly inconsistent over the last couple weeks, and they need him for all 7 games. If not, I mean, this is another one up for grabs. But I'll say the Knicks of 7. Sixers are playing with house money in my eyes, so this is fine. Another East round series we didn't talk about. The Pistons escaped the Magic, and I know there's a pun in there somewhere, but I'm not finding it. It goes to a game 6, and the Magic are up by 40 plus, almost 50 at the half. I mean. And then you still come back and win that and then blow them out in game 7. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, what a last 6 quarters for the Pistons.
I rewatched it at about 3 a.m. at home, and I still can't believe it. So now the Pistons take on the 4th-seeded Cavs, and they had to survive 7 games against the Raptors. Cavaliers, Pistons, I would have to think Detroit's got a renewed energy right now about them where they're going to try to make a statement here.
I think so, but I also like that Cavs team. They showed a lot of fight in that Game 7 last week. Jared Allen almost had 20 and 20 rebounds. He had 19 rebounds in that game and 22 points. So he went crazy in a Game 7 when a couple of years ago he said the lights were too bright in a Game 7. I think this one is going to go pretty far, though. Both teams looking to push the conference finals and then hopefully even squeak into a finals for both of them. But I think it'll go Cavs in 7.
Oh, you got the Cavs taking down the Pistons. I'll say the Pistons in 7, but this is a coin flip. I agree with you. Over on the Western Conference, the Minnesota Timberwolves take it. The 6th seed moves on against the 2nd-seeded Spurs, who really made quick work of Portland. And the Spurs did it without Anthony Edwards, who's still listed as out as they get ready to play in that one. I don't know how much further they're going to be able to go without Anthony Edwards, especially if San Antonio is healthy and Wemby is in the center.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, without Anthony Edwards, I don't think it's very far. I think their supporting cast can steal a game, maybe 2 off the back of Jay McDaniels or Ayo Dosunmu, who both put up pretty good games in that first series. Yeah. But overall, I think the Spurs are going to have a pretty easy time with it. I'll take them in 5.
Yeah, I would say this is a 5 game as well. But again, if Anthony Edwards is somehow able to muscle his way back, who knows, but that's still an uphill climb, even with everyone. All right, and then I think the other one, which is a very, very intriguing one in my eyes, Oklahoma City, all of 64 wins against the 4th-seeded Lakers. Oklahoma City has just been tough all season long, but man, even at his age, I hate looking at a LeBron James team and counting them out. I can't do it.
It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to count them out. And Luka apparently coming back at some point in this series.
Yep.
You got to like the chances with that. But I think this OKC team is just a buzzsaw. I just think anyone that's going to run into them isn't going to have much of a chance throughout the rest of the series. I think they're still my favorite to win it all. So I'm going to go Thunder in 5.
Yeah, I would say Thunder in 6 just because of the outside chance of both LeBron and Luka being on the court at the same time. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has just been disgusting this year. I mean, he has been Mr. Do-It-All. And then they've got the better rebounders up front, I feel. There's not a lot of second chance buckets to be found in this one. So, yeah, I got Lakers. I'll say it in 6. But I think we're all in pretty much agreement on that one.
Lakers in 6?
Lakers?
Or Thunder?
No, what did I say?
You said Lakers.
Oh, but do not take betting advice from me. No. Thunder at 6. I've been to a Thunder game. It's a greater. I'd love to see that city get another title, as long as my Sixers are not in the finals, which, we'll see about that. All right, that's going to do it for the Hometown Sports Huddle for tonight, everyone. Thanks again to Zach Card, who's going to be joining us again a little bit more often here on the show. and we appreciate you watching here on WDBJ 7 Plus. And again, that's going to do it for us. But hey, we're going to be back tomorrow, so we'll see you then, everybody. Bye bye.